All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the invisible engine that powers pretty much all of modern commerce, but you probably never see it. We're talking about business to business or B2B integration. It's the magic happening behind the scenes. Seriously, have you ever stopped to think about it? You click buy now on some website, and what happens next? Suddenly, a whole bunch of different companies, the retailer, the warehouse, the manufacturer, even the shipping company, all spring into action. How do they all know exactly what to do, like instantly? That's the magic we're going to unpack today. So what is this thing? Well, B2B integration is basically the tech that lets different companies' computer systems talk to each other automatically, without any humans in the loop. The analogy we're going to use today is perfect. Think of it as a universal translator and a super high-security courier service all rolled into one. Okay, so before we can follow a piece of data on its journey, we kind of need to meet the main characters in our story, right? There are really three key players that make this whole digital conversation happen. First up, you've got the systems at the start and the end of the line. So on one side, you might have a retailer's order system, maybe something like Salesforce. And on the other, you've got the supplier's inventory system, maybe a big ERP like SAP. These are the apps where the actual business gets done, and they're the start and end points for our digital message. And then, smack dab in the middle, you have what is honestly the most critical player of all, the middleware. This thing is our central hub. It's the application that connects everything. It's our universal translator, our secure courier, and it's even the traffic cop, making sure every single message gets exactly where it needs to go in the perfect format. And this is so important. These different systems, they often speak completely different languages. You've got older, super established systems that still run on a traditional format like EDI. Then you have more web-based systems using something like XML. And of course, modern apps, they usually prefer something clean and simple like JSON. It's the middleware's job to be totally fluent in all of them. It has to be that perfect translator, no exceptions. All right, so we've met the cast. Now let's do something fun. We're going to follow a single piece of data, a simple purchase order, on its epic journey from one company to another. This is where you'll see how all these pieces really click together. This journey breaks down into 5 main stages. Super simple. First, it's initiated. Then it's transformed, transmitted, processed by the partner, and finally acknowledged. Let's walk through each step. Okay, step 1, initiation. Our story kicks off the moment a retailer creates a purchase order. Inside their own system, that order looks something like this. It's a clean, internal format, probably JSON. For their computers, this is perfectly readable. But here's the catch. The supplier's system might be decades older, built by a totally different team. It can't read this language. And this is where our hero, the middleware, swoops in. The retailer sends its internal file over, and the middleware acts like a digital Rosetta Stone. It has a pre-built map that tells it exactly how to translate every single piece of information from the retailer's JSON into the exact format the supplier system requires. And boom, look at the result. That clean, simple JSON we started with, it's been transformed into this, an EDI document. Now, to you and me, it looks like a jumbled mess of characters. But to that supplier's legacy system, this is a perfectly structured, universally understood purchase order. The translation was a total success. Okay, step 3, secure transmission. You obviously can't just email a legally binding purchase order around. That would be crazy. So the middleware wraps this EDI file in multiple layers of security, kind of like a digital diplomatic pouch. It sets up a secure connection, encrypts the message itself so no one can read it, and digitally signs it to prove who sent it. It even uses a special protocol like AS2 to get a digital receipt that proves it was delivered. It's serious business. And that brings us to the end of the line. Steps 4 and 5, processing and acknowledgement. The supplier system gets the secure package, decrypts it, and immediately processes that EDI order. Then, and this is key, it sends a confirmation message back through the middleware that basically says, yep, got it, and everything looks good. The loop is closed. The digital handshake is complete. And the best part? Not a single human had to lift a finger. So that was the fairy tale version, right? The perfect journey. But we all know the real world is messy. Things go wrong. Networks drop. Data gets corrupted. A truly great integration system isn't just about handling the happy path. It's about having an ironclad safety net for when things, inevitably, go sideways. And a well-built system always plans for failure. For example, if there is a quick network hiccup, the system won't just give up. It'll automatically try sending the message again a few times. What if the data itself is bad, like an invalid product code? It won't just crash, it'll flag the error and ping a human to go fix it. And if the partner's entire system is offline, no problem. It'll just hang back and try again later. See, every potential problem has a planned response. This number right here, 5,000 milliseconds, or just 5 seconds, this is a fantastic example of what we call proactive monitoring. The system is constantly tracking how long transactions take. If that average time starts creeping above this 5-second threshold for more than a few minutes, it doesn't wait for a complete meltdown. Nope, it automatically sends an alert to the operations team saying, hey, something's slowing down. You might want to check this out. That's being proactive, not reactive. Okay, so we've seen the journey and we've seen the safety nets. For our final section, let's zoom out a bit. Let's talk about the big picture principles, the architectural best practices that make these digital bridges strong and reliable from the get-go. When you're building these systems, there are definitely some golden rules. On the left, you've got the do's. You want what's called loose coupling. That just means systems are independent, so you can update one without breaking everything else. This is the opposite of the don'ts on the right. That tangled, point-to-point spaghetti mess that's a nightmare to maintain. You also need a system that can handle duplicates gracefully, so you don't accidentally ship 2 orders. And as we just saw, you need comprehensive monitoring, because trying to run this stuff without it, that's just flying blind in production. It's a recipe for disaster. You know, it all really boils down to this one core idea. Success here isn't about one single piece of tech. It's a whole philosophy. You have to have proper architecture from day one. You need to test absolutely everything. You need that proactive monitoring we talked about. And security has to be built in from the ground up, not just bolted on at the end. And believe me, this field is not standing still. It's constantly evolving. The future is all about moving away from those rigid old formats and toward more flexible APIs. It's about moving into the cloud with serverless platforms to get massive scale. And it's getting way smarter, using AI and machine learning to spot problems before they even happen. We're even seeing things like blockchain being used for incredible supply chain transparency. And that leaves us with one final big question to chew on. We went from paper invoices to EDI and now to APIs. As our world gets more and more connected, more automated, what do you think the next great business language will be? What's the next thing that all businesses everywhere will need to learn how to speak? Something to think about. Thanks for joining.